But the biggest thing to happen in terms of the past dying, like the final thing, was when MGM closed its animation department in 1957.
Yeah.
So while things were still going fine back in 1937, MGM hired a former banker and a former accountant by the names of Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera. Both of them just got into it just because they needed money. They just wanted money. Greedy. They teamed up really quickly, and their first cartoon together, they made Puss Gets the Boot.
Yeah.
It was starring a cat named Jasper and a mouse with no name in 1940. And after a little retooling, they renamed the cat Tom, and they gave the mouse the name Jerry. And they went on to win 7 Oscars together, all of them for Tom and Jerry.
From reading, like, there was nothing spectacular about their friendship. They just kind of worked in the same room and just slowly started.
That sounds familiar. They slowly started hating each other.
Yeah, slowly.
And eventually one of them robbed the other's house.
This is an episode of the Flintstones, isn't it? Be honest.
Hanna and Barbera, they had a side company named HB Enterprises that they started in 1944 just to do some freelance work on the side. One of the things they did was the I Love Lucy opening credits.
Oh yeah, the characters, right?
Yeah. They created Ethel. Ethel was entirely animated.
I didn't know that Hanna-Barbera did that old the one that they never showed on Fox, but it's like the stylized version, like Lucy's head in the little dress and Ricky with the pompadour.
Stick figure bodies.
Yeah.
They I see it every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while.
I get excited. I jump up and down. I say, "Ma, Pa, get in here."
The moving box is moving.
When MGM shut down in 1957, they went into their side project full time.
Yeah.
They saw that the old way of cartoons being viewed in theaters before movies, it was changing, and people were now watching them on their TVs at home.
Yeah.
The only problem was that everybody was just showing reruns of all the old cartoons from like the 20s and 30s, and almost nobody was creating anything new. So they decided to step up. They made a half-hour show called Rough and Ready, and it was okay. But it was still just a half-hour compilation of disjointed shorts like everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
Even though they were new, they were just sort of, it was basically the old thing, but in a new box.
Yeah.
So they tried again, and they came out with Huckleberry Hound in 1958, which was their first complete TV show. The next year, they officially became Hanna-Barbera Productions, and they eventually headquartered at 3400 Cahuenga Boulevard, which is right across the freeway from Universal.
Huh.
It's like apartments and some offices now. But you can still kind of see the sign, like what it kind of looked like.
I like to see what things kind of look like.
So the year after that, in 1960, they released their biggest hit, The Flintstones. It was an homage to the Honeymooners, and
homage is loose because it looks like they just ripped them off.
It was the Honeymooners.
It's not as bad as like the is it the Honey Micers? Like it's like mice, but it's almost exactly like
Honey
the
Micers. It was actually an homage to the Honey Micers. It was the first cartoon to be aired in prime time. It was on ABC, and it was a huge success. It lasted 6 seasons in prime time. Mel Blanc, he did the voice of Barney, so he came back.
Oh yeah.
It was so popular, the episode where Pebbles was born, it was as big as the I Love Lucy when little Ricky was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's another thing about sort of relating to I Love Lucy is I heard this somewhere. I didn't research it.
I heard you love Lucy.
Nah, she's all right. Fred and Wilma were the first married couple to share a marital bed. That's what I heard somewhere.
Was it a bed or a bedrock?
I just don't like you sometimes.
So the Flintstones, it cost $65,000 per episode.
Oh my God,
which meant it was the most expensive half hour on TV at the time.
Yeah.
It spawned a lot of primetime cartoon imitators, but none of them were as successful. Not even when the Jetsons came out in 1962, it was also Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
It only lasted 1 season in primetime. Really, the next primetime cartoon to make it as big as the Flintstones was The Simpsons in 1989.
Wow, really?
Yeah, nothing was as successful. And The Simpsons blew the Flintstones out of the water.
God, something had to.
Finally, Fred had to be dethroned.
As much love as I have for Hanna-Barbera, because I really did grow up a lot watching a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons because they were bought by Ted Turner, and they were just played on Cartoon Network before they created original material, which you're probably going to get to. They just threw everything at you. You know, you had your Flintstones, you had your Jetsons, you had your Top Cat, you had Huckleberry Hound, you had...
Too many contrasts.
But the colors, like, the colors, I find those cartoons to be so very Californian.
Yeah. That's what I imagine. Everybody in pointy cars and just, like, shapes when they get into car accidents.
But they also had really neat, like, cartoon style, too. Like, if you look at the character designs, they're very loose and bold lines, and
it does look really cool. Which I mean, at watching it as a kid, it really, like I've said, it kind of bored. Like I got really bored of a lot of their stuff. But looking back on it, at the ripe old age I am now of 93, it looks like something I would really like now. But watching it as a kid, it really bored me, a lot of the stuff. Even the Jetsons. I'm made for the Jetsons.
You are made for the Jetsons.
And it really bored me when I was younger.
It surprised me they only lasted one season.
I think they moved to like Saturday morning or something, but they were only in prime time for one season.
And they also had like really, really, I know it sounds stupid, but memorable things that like, it was 1993 and I'm watching them, and I'm watching like memorable things from like, thank you, from like the 50s. I'm like, oh, this means something. Like, I didn't know who Anne Margaret was, but like Anne Magrock, when she came and sang that song to Pebbles, I'm like, this means something. This is important. This is a beautiful moment in TV. And then let's not forget Eep Op Ork Ah in the Jetsons. This is like the best thing ever. It means I love you. Oh,
do
but
you?
Not you. No, I love Lucy. You know that.
Eep Ork Ooh Ah.
You almost got it right, you know.
You just said something very offensive in Jetson.
But Top Cat, I think Top Cat might be my favorite of the comedy ones. It's just something about a bunch of cats living in an alleyway just trying to hustle. And it's not even hustle because they're so hungry and they're stray cats. It's like they just love the adventure of it.
Yeah, they're just doing it because, they're doing it to prove something to their cat parents.
And they also had really fun adventure cartoons like Johnny Quest and Birdman, which was really neat. Batman and Space Ghost, which like which Adult Swim would later turn into like satirical something weird that it wouldn't get for years later. Yeah. It took me a long time to like accept that they're making fun of Birdman, which is a weird thing.
So by 1962, Hanna-Barbera, they had so many shows going, 5 shows, that they were making a total of 4,500 minutes of animation a year.
They were called the General Motors of animation.
Yeah. Well, to compare, it took Disney 3 years to make 101 Dalmatians, which was 80 minutes long.
One of my favorites.
And Disney was not a fan. I don't know if you read about this. One Disney executive once said about Hanna-Barbera, "We don't even consider them competition." To which Barbera responded, "If Disney starts making cartoons for television on a regular schedule, he will either have to change his style completely or go broke. Then we'll see how much of a perfectionist he is." Hanna-Barbera, they didn't have enough money to look good, so they focused on cartoons that were centered around witty dialogue.
Yeah.
So Hanna-Barbera did Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Scooby-Doo is one of those cartoons that jumps the shark. I mean, over and over and over again. Yep. Did you ever watch Scooby-Doo and Friends?
I'm sure I did.
That's the one where like guest stars would come on, like Don Knotts or Batman and Robin, or like the Globetrotters, or Laurel and Hardy would come and help.
Harlem Globetrotters?
The Harlem Globetrotters would come and help them solve cases.
Oh God.
I really like early Hanna-Barbera for the style. I can't recall much of that witty dialogue that you brought up, but I know like Josie and the Pussycats in Space is definitely like, okay, I'm not watching that.
That is witty.
Captain Caveman I did not like. Jabberjaw I did not like.
I have an original
Hair Bear Bunch.
Jabberjaw.
Oh, you do have original style Jabberjaw. Don't like Jabberjaw, I'm sorry. Well, there was a lot of Scooby-Doo.
I'll wash the cell. Magilla Gorilla.
The Impossibles are really good too. They were like a Beatles ripoff, but they're also superheroes.
Oh, the monkeys.